It's good to see you. It's Richard, and it's hello. It's all right. Quiet now. September the 5th, and I haven't done an update for a while, so I thought I'd do an update today. And sadly for you, whereas normally I remember everything, I've made some notes, which means potentially it's a long video. So anyway, how are you? I'm very uncomfortable wearing a vest on video, but I'm wearing a vest. I look like I've got a tan, but I don't know how that can be because we haven't been anywhere this summer. We realised that Kelly and I haven't been on holiday for 4 years. We will get some bits of travel in the coming year, I think. But we haven't been away on holiday. Holiday still feels like a big step. I don't know if I'm up for airports and big cases, and do you know what? Since being ill, I think I've always been a sensitive soul. Too sensitive, some will say. As Morgan would say, snowflake. I've become more sensitive, more stuff. I absorb more stuff, it seems, and bothered by sounds and noises and temperature changes. And basically, if you thought I was high maintenance, I am now fucking high maintenance. Reach out to Kelly and offer condolences for how difficult her life must be. Oh, look at the little poochie. I'm going to turn the phone around so you can see the little poochie snoozing. He's snoozing. Rudolph. Hello, darling. Rudolph has had a big haircut because he got so matted. So look at the beautiful little boy sleeping in the shade. You can smell something. He's got a cat or something on his senses. So, an update on a few things. Willow tree is, wow, what a thing we set up out of a very bleak situation. So Willow tree continues to leap forward. In, I think it was July, Kelly did a dragon boat race, which they hold in Kingston on the river every year. And there was a Kingston Charitable Foundation boat, which Kelly raced for to raise funds for the Willow tree, and raised £800 for the dragon boat race, which is brilliant. And out of the 3 races they did, they won 3 of them. They raced more than 3, maybe 5 they raced. And they won 3 of them, which was incredible. This was the non-professional squad that they had, the under-rehearsed team, but they were absolutely brilliant. It was a brilliant day, and more funds raised, so amazing. We've just had our round of grant giving, of which we gave out as a charity over £12,000. That was about 3 weeks ago. So we had grant applications in, and in our 4 grant categories, and I had to make notes of just 3 that I picked. Kelly and I weren't part of the grant giving process. It was all done by a panel of people that we don't know. They looked at all the applications and they chose which families to give what amount of money to. We had there was some guidance from us, which was just around the amounts for each grant, which we'd already set out before people applied. And then I wanted to write a personal note to each applicant who was given funds, just because I was so, the stories are both heartbreaking and at the same time heart expanding. So what a contradiction, that you read the applications and could sob at what people have to endure, and at the same time the fact that they are able to reach someone and someone listens and takes their hand metaphorically. is heart expanding, is heart filling. I mean, who knew 18 months ago that we would find ourselves here with the Willow Tree and giving out grants. We have to thank the Roger Raymond Charitable Trust for supporting us this year. Thank them in other videos, but they have given us money for this round of grants. They funded the choir for a year, and my heart goes out to them to thank them for what they've done for us, and that they've taken us under their wing. We wouldn't be able to have raised enough funds to be able to do this grant rounds and then continue with grant rounds. So 3 of the applications, I don't know who any of the people are, I don't know any names. One was from a family whose son was 2 and diagnosed in November last year with ALL, which is a type of leukemia which is just brutal, and the family lost him in June this year. It's unimaginable, isn't it? It's just, how can you begin? So we were able to support them to think about how they continue to hold him in their life through memorials and gravestones, and to, at least in their hearts, keep him alive. There was another one from, I don't even know if it was a male or a female, but they were diagnosed in September 21 with leukemia, and they spent 169 days in the Royal Marsden in the Teenage Cancer Unit, and they had just started their university path and it was completely annihilated by cancer. They've had a double stem cell transplant. I mean, for a family to have to endure that, fucking hell. And they want to finish their final year at university, but it was a massive burden for their mum, so we gave them some money which will go towards a laptop and being able to continue their studies, get their life back on a different track, but back on the track. And then another family whose daughter was also diagnosed with ALL in March, just before her 3rd birthday. They got 2.5 years of chemo ahead of them. Just life-altering for the entire family, a sibling to the child and to the parents. And I mean, the stories go on, and one is no more moving than another. I just picked 3 because I didn't want to go through all of them. So as I say, heartbreaking when you read it, and heart expanding to know that we are able to in some way just affect their life and touch them. The choir goes on. We had a break over the summer, but we start again at the end of September. So if you are in Kingston and watching this and you fancy joining a choir, come and join us. So that goes on. I hope that we will soon get to doing some kind of first performance later in the year. Thank you to all of our supporters and cheerleaders, and those that have given money, and those that have given time, and those that have continued to give resources to us, all for free. We couldn't do this without you. And for Kingston Charitable Foundation for adopting us and taking us under their wing, and allowing us to have charitable status, which means that we can continue. I would never, ever have imagined that I would set up a cancer charity. Okay, so that's the Willow Tree. My health, it continues to ebb and flow, and whilst the majority of people who see me go, "My God, you look so amazing," I'm not saying that to get comments or "You look so great, you look so well, it's hard to believe you were ever unwell." Thank you for all of those lovely things, and it's very hard to express how the outside and the inside don't seem to marry up. The inside of my body feels quite fragile. I have still a lot of side effects from the treatment, my neuropathy in the feet. I'm trying to reduce the very strong painkillers that I'm on for that, and whilst I reduce that, the neuropathy gets a bit worse, and at the same time I realise that the opioid I take has propped up my anxiety and mental well-being quite a lot in the last 18 months. So the moment I reduce them, I feel a little bit more anxious. There is a lot of anxiety swimming around in my world. It's just kind of sometimes a sense of being very ill at ease with it all. Other times kind of finding some flow. I have a lot of ongoing infections now. What we learn a bit about mantle cell is, whilst mantle cell is incurable, I can remain in remission for a long time, we know that. But what tends to spike mantle cell back into action is infection. And I have a lot of infections, so I'm trying to manage infections, but at the same time I take rituximab every 8 weeks in hospital in an infusion, which lowers my immunity, which means I'm more susceptible to infections, and of course getting infections means that I'm at a higher risk of mantle cell coming back. We do everything we can. We do everything we can with diet, with supplements, with our integrative approach, with oxygen, with infrared saunas. I'm just very conscious about how we're living. I'm very conscious about stress. I'm very conscious about any bits of work that I take on. I'm very aware of how bits of work that I take on exhaust me. Yeah. So I seem to be taking antibiotics all the time. They're doing some other investigations for infections that maybe aren't infections. They're going to stick a camera down my tubes, the front tubes and back tubes, to have a look and see what's happening. So, you know, it goes on. It goes on whilst I look well, whilst the shell, the body looks quite well. The inside of the body doesn't feel quite the same. Well, that's true for a lot of people who live with life-altering illnesses. They become invisible to the world. And I'm not telling you for you to go to tell me that I look great or to give me sympathy. I don't need sympathy. I don't think actually there's anything that I really need. Maybe I'm telling you because I wonder if you miss it in people around you. You know how we misattune. So it becomes a very conscious conversation when people say to me, "Oh my God, you look so well." They mostly say that because they know I've been unwell, and I probably say, "Body doesn't feel quite how it looks." But I wonder if that bit of conversation doesn't happen, and we misattune, we miss people where they are. So I guess I tell you to give you a bit of an update, but also just for you to check where you miss it, where you maybe misattune with others, and maybe misattune with yourself. Well, I think we do that quite a lot, don't we? We just miss ourselves, just kind of swerve it, and I don't think that's a very sustainable. We did choose to get a travel insurance because we know that we will be doing some trips in the coming year, shorter trips, one for work. So I needed to get travel insurance, which was a complete and utter ball ache and cost a fortune, cost 400 quid for a year, compared to Mia's travel insurance that I got, which was £25. But Kelly's put together a document which is in the Willow website, which tells you all the companies that offer travel insurance for people who are living with, have lived with cancer, because there are a few, and the one we found, which I think is Insure With or Insurance With, it's all on the document, were the ones that gave us the best price. The 400 quid was the cheapest of the lot. Some were over £1,000. So you can check that document out. So that's kind of a health update. It's you know, it's ongoing, and I feel, yeah, it's ongoing. It's Blood Cancer Awareness Month, So it's a big month for blood cancer and putting it back on the map. It's the I had to make notes because my memory feels like absolutely stuffed. It's the third biggest cancer killer in this country, and yet it's one we often don't talk about. Around 16,000 people every year die of some form of blood cancer. There are over 70 or 100 different types of blood cancer in the leukemia, myeloma, lymphoma, kind of subtypes of that. But it will affect anyone. It will affect very young children, as we know from our grants program, right through to elderly people. And it's often ones that the symptoms become a bit vague and we miss them, like I missed them. I knew there was something up, but the unexplained weight loss, fatigue that doesn't improve with sleep, constant infections, unexplained bruising, night sweat, shortness of breath, joint pain, pains in bones, pains in the abdomen, fevers, rashes, itchy skin, lots of these things. When we start to group them, it's just check stuff out. If you're unsure, we write it off as other things, but if you're unsure, just get it checked out. Go to the doctor. You don't have to go from a place of fear, just go from a place of care for yourself. Just get it checked out. I know a lot of people actually don't want to know and would go, I'd rather not know. And it's better knowing, because you can take some action. There comes a point where for some it's just too late. It's kind of taken a grip. Check yourselves. We have to become much better. We can blame our systems around us and we can blame the world around us for all of our problems, but for our health, and I know I'm not always good at this, we have to take responsibility. Book update. The book is finished. As a Kite Falls is finished. I mean, it will continue to be fiddled with, and but it is a book that is about finding hope when our world crashes around us. It is with the intention of being able to locate the tiny shards of light when our world feels plunged into darkness, when we descend, how we can descend in the best way possible in order that we can at some point maybe ascend again. So it is a book about ascent and descent. It's finished. I sent it to a few agents. None of them were interested. Yeah, disappointing. Takes me back to being an actor and the disappointment of not getting a job. But hey, it's, the book, what do we need more books? There's a lot of books out there. Anyway, for whatever reason, whatever the feedback was, at least they took the time. Some of them took the time, but maybe 10 of them took the time to go, not for us. Too many memoir books. We don't know where it fits. Is it memoir? Is it, what is it? What is it? What is it? You're not famous, hard to sell. I don't know. Maybe it's shit. They just didn't say. Maybe the ones who didn't reply thought it was shit. I don't know. I don't know, but it feels, it's written and I still am not 100% sure what to do with it. There is a floating option of a publisher that I would really like to take it on. That remains open at the moment to possibility, so I would be very happy if they said yes. And I don't know. But the handful of people that have read it I think it's reached them, and that's all I want to do, write something that reaches people. It has been a full summer. Mia's at least had some holiday. Mia got her A-level results and has got a place at Bath Spa, which is what she wanted, to go and study psychology, which is just amazing. I mean, she worked hard, and life is testing for teens, right? We think it's all easy, but life, I think, for teenagers is hard, and this is an enormous transition in her life. She has the lovely Charlie in her life. He's super and adorable, and I guess the son I never had. I feel very blessed to have him around. So So they're coming back from holiday today, and kind of getting themselves set for Charlie to go back into second year of A-levels and me to go to uni in a few weeks. So I've just, big transitions, just I'm doing my best to stay sturdy for me and sturdy for them and sturdy for Kelly, who has a lot on, and we're kind of in our own transition of, what's next in our life and what's the next chapter and where will that lead us and where do we want it to go. So we're kind of figuring that out and playing around with that, and we'll update you when we kind of know a bit more. But wanting to stay sturdy for everyone, wanting to stay sturdy for Royston, wanting to stay sturdy for the charity, and I guess most importantly, probably for the first time in almost 51 years, wanting to stay sturdy for myself, which I haven't really done. So that means making decisions that go, what's best for me? I'm going to do what's best for me, because if I don't do that, then I can't really be here for all of those other people. This is a long fucking video. Jeez, I don't know how I'm going to even have time to upload it before my 51st birthday. September, I guess my closing message is Happy New Year, because September feels like the start of a new year. And I don't know about you, but September for me as I grew up was a kind of this dance between enormous anxiety about the unknown and newness, and at the same time excitement. And it's that being pulled between these two poles of excitement and anxiety. And September just feels that. I feel it. I felt it this week as I walked the dog one day, and it's like, it hasn't gone away. It's different in kind of 45 years later, that I still feel that same pang of newness of September as we transition out of summer and into autumn, despite us having a heat wave in the UK. But it feels a tension. I feel like as I pull my hands, they don't come apart. It's the tension between, I feel anxious, and at the same time I feel, I guess, open to what is new for all of us. So I wonder how you're managing September. I wonder what, I wonder what it's offering you in endings, closing away of summer and the opening up of autumn, but what else it is closing and opening in your life, inside you and outside of you. It's a ripe time, it's a harvesting time, isn't it? In the field they harvest, but maybe inside our lives we harvest as well. I'm sorry if I've dribbled on. I do dribble. I knew it would be a long video. That's the problem. If I did regular videos, maybe they'd be shorter 5-minuters. Or maybe they wouldn't. Anyway, I'm going to say goodbye, and thank you for taking the time to watch and being a part of our life and being a part of the charity and showing up for us. And I quite like this thing my dad had where he had like t-shirt lines. I always thought, God, that looks really silly. And it still looks really silly. Lots of love to you. Go well into autumn. Enjoy all the newness that autumn brings. Crunchy leaf time. I love the crunchy leaves and the just enriching colours. Go well. Lots of love. See you soon. Bye.